Hey, what's going on everyone? My name is Garrett Blackwood. Welcome back to the vlog. This is day 2 of the GUKPT High Roller 2K. I am very, very late, so doing this very quickly. Here at the wonderful Vic in West London. Yeah, let's get straight into the action today. I need to run up these stairs and take my seat.
Okay, so for those of you saying, hang on, I'm a huge Gazzy B fan. I didn't see day 1. Where the hell is that video? Well, I recorded all the all-ins and I wrote all the hands down, but the truth is, late reg isn't even closed yet. So we're just going to skip day 1 and move straight into day 2. I bagged 263k from a 100k starting stack on one bullet. 32 of us making it through to day 2 with another 28 entries during the first 2 hours. I was a little late, but I made it just in time for the start of play. First hand of day, I opened red, king, queen offsuit in the hijack for the minimum. The big blind, who has a very large stack, makes the call. We go to a flop of king 8-6 with 2 spades. Really nice flop here. I am of course c-betting. I fire out 15k and he doesn't take long in check raising me to 50k. Not really sure what the right play is here, but it can't be bad to just go ahead and shove. He might have a worse king. He might call it off with a flush draw. So I shove for 240k total and I get a very quick fold. I really don't mind that, scooping in my first pot of the day. Off to a good start here, and the next hand is very interesting. There's a kid in the field called Arthur who's a very good player, but he's shown up very late today looking really disheveled and annoyed with something. I can only assume he's had some massive transport issues. Classic London. Unfortunately for him, his stack has bled down to just 65k. We are playing 7-handed after all. It doesn't take him long to find a shove spot with his 8 big blinds. He moves all in from the hijack and the button, thinks for a few seconds, smiles at him and says, "Go on then, son, I'll give you a spin." It then folds to me in the big blind and I look down at ace jack suited. I was probably going to reshove anyway, but this sounded like a very genuine go on then kind of call from the button, so I'm even happier to stick it in now. Sure enough, I shove for about 300k. The button makes a quick fold and we're up against ace 5 suited for a very nice pot with some dead money as well. Really nice to hold there, off to a fantastic start today. I don't think I've lost a single pot yet, and I'm hoping that continues until at least the end of the next hand, where I pick up pocket kings in the big blind. The hijack is open to 16k off of around 140k. The button has just re-entered and shoves all in for 100k. I of course re-shove, and after burning a few time extensions, the hijack size, he calls it off. We've got a 3-way all in here for around 350k total. We're up against 9s in the hijack and ace 10 offsuit from the button. Huge pot incoming. Let's see if we can hold.
That's a 10 and a bullet. Thank you. Nice.
Alright, a little disappointed not to hold in that hand, coming back into level 14 now, which for some reason is the same blind level as the last level. Not complaining at all. I get moved to a new table. It is much harder than the last one. Next up, I open pocket 7s under the gun. We're 7-handed here. A well-known UK pro called Brandon Shields is going to re-raise me next to act, and when it folds back around to me, I decide to 4-bet jam for around 33 big blinds total. We're not near the bubble yet, and I know he's going to be 3-betting me kind of light, as well he should be. He clearly looks very frustrated, burns a few time banks, and eventually folds. I told him later that I had pocket 7s, and he told me he had pocket 9s. Really surprised to hear that. But then again, I'm not a tournament player. I'm a cash game guy that's making it up as he goes along. Very quiet level for me here, and when we move into level 15, the payouts go up for all to see. 11 total paid. Really love these GUKPT structures, paying a smaller percentage of the field, which makes for much more top-heavy prize pools. Never a bad thing in my opinion. Still lots of work to be done, and happy to be moving off this death table very soon when we redraw with 24 players left. Nothing happens for me at this new table for about an hour. Lots of small pots here and there before I pick up ace jack of spades and open to 32k from the cutoff. It folds to the big blind, who asks for a count. I tell him a little over 400k. He looks at the dealer and says all in. I don't love calling it off here for about 26 bigs, but I think it's a pretty mandatory call. I end up making the call, and he's got king queen offsuit. Big chance for me here to finally build a stack. Dealer, keep it clean.
Alright, we are on break. I have literally just doubled up to around 900,000. Absolutely delighted. 17 left, 11 paid, 61k for first. So yeah, let's just keep it going. Got above average now for once. Just grind it out and see if we can win this thing. That would be really nice.
Beautiful double up just before the break there, getting closer and closer to the money, but still work to be done. Next up, I'm on the button with ace-10 offsuit. There's a shorty in the small blind and a medium stack in the big blind, so I decide to open it up for the minimum. I make 40k to go, and the small blind makes a very quick jam for 220k total. I make a pretty quick call here. It's just 11 big blinds, and it's always good to hear your opponent say, that's not good. He's got ace-7 offsuit. We're way ahead here, looking to hold and get us all one step closer to that money bubble.
Take on, man. 9-6.
Hey, buddy.
Given how I'm running today, was there ever any doubt that I would hold there? Running super well. That brings us down to 16 players, which means another redraw and another table change for me. I don't mind though. Gotta get my daily steps in somehow. I gotta tell you, money bubbles with just 2 tables in play are long. This one takes a good few hours to go from 16 to 12. We finally go hand for hand, and without me really doing anything, just like that, the money bubble bursts. Brandon Shields puts a nasty beat on one of our opponents to win a huge pot and send us into the money. We're not at the WSOP here, so I'm not allowed to film the 11 of us cheering raucously and hugging and crying, but I promise you it did happen. I am in the money now with about 1.1 million chips here in level 19. That's good for almost 40 big blinds, one of the bigger stacks left in the field. Off for another break and outside again to stretch my legs.
All right, we're on break. We're down to the final 10. I felt like we were stuck on 15 for ages, and then we just went down very, very quickly. So yeah, 10 left, basically locked for the final table, 61k up top. Really happy. See what we can do.
All right, coming back with 10 players left, we're on the final table bubble. To my immediate left is a very well-known tournament pro called Harry Lodge. He's used all of his experience to navigate the bubble with a very short stack, and he's down to just a couple of big blinds in the small blind. I open king 8 on the button. He flats in the small blind with one 5k chip behind, and I put him all in on the king 6-3 flop. While that happens, there's an elimination on the other table, so we're a lock for the final table, but looking to put us down to 8 very, very quickly here.
And we are heading straight over. We've got Harry Lodge all in, and there is betting on the side, I believe. Oh, he had one chip back. He had one chip back. Left himself with one chip. Harry's got ace-8 suited, and he's up against the king 8. The king 8 found the 3-outer, and now Harry needs to hit a 3-outer, and he does!
There you go, beautiful.
Who's done that? That is ill. You think you've got there, you've hit your 3-outer and then the 2-outer on the river for Gary Blackwood.
Wow.
Jeez. What a run out.
Wowzers.
What a run out. So we lose 2 players at the same time.
Just want to give a very quick shout out to the Vic in London. They run such great tournaments and the legends in the booth that call the action all day. Really love playing here, and anyone in London that plays tournaments should get along and play when they run the series. All right, off we go to the final table. 8 left, 1.2 million in chips. Sitting in 6th place, but a very even field. No shorties and nobody really dominating either. On to our first hand we go, and my buddy Jamie Dwan raises it up in the hijack with ace-9 offsuit. He's a very good, very aggressive pro, likes to open wide, and I'm going to try and exploit that a little bit by putting in a light-ish 3-bet here to 235k with ace-8 offsuit. It's a little loose, but it's going to get the job done, taking it down. Every pot's so important here as I look to propel myself up to the top of the chip counts. I get 1 or 2 opens through before our next hand. I'm in the big blind with queen jack of diamonds. Once again, Jamie is doing the opening, this time on the button with ace-6 offsuit. I decide to just call, and we see a pretty good flop for me here, making top pair. Jamie bets again for 90k. I don't think we want to raise here. I think just call. To the turn, it's the 8 of diamonds. I think long and hard about leading here. When he bets 40% on the flop, he shouldn't have much second pairs that turn trips, but I decide to just check. He checks it back, and lucky for me, he connects with the 6 on the river. A pretty clear value bet for me here, about 145k, and he makes a very quick call. I think his call is fine. He unblocks all my bluffs. I might have a hand like 7-6 myself going for some thin value, but unfortunately for him, I've got top pair and scoop in this pot to send me top of the chip counts. 2 million chips now, really locked in and focused on taking this whole thing down. Next up is a very strange hand. I'm in the small blind with ace queen of diamonds and raise it on up to 140k. The big blind is a guy I haven't played much with, but he's got ace king. This is a disaster spot for me, but somehow, some way, he decides to just flat the open. I was ready to play for it all here if he decided to 3-bet. As the flop comes down, I remember being a little disappointed with it, but in hindsight, this could have been a whole lot lot worse. I check, and when he bets, I go ahead and just fold. Dodged a massive bullet here somehow. I should be on my way out the tournament. Moving on now, and Jamie is yet again doing the raising. He makes 80k from the hijack. I'm on the button with Jack 9 suited and decide to peel. No super shorties behind, so we're not going to get shoved on. And I want to play pots here, so I go ahead and make the call. This is going to bring in Kenny Hallert from the big blind. Kenny has final tabled the main event before. I'm sure a lot of us know who he is. A very good tournament player, and he's got me dominated here as we head to a jack high flop. Loving it at the time, but in hindsight, when I can see the cards, not so much. It checks me, and I decide to check this one back. Both players could have a better jack in their range, and it's nice to have some top pairs in my checking range. To the turn, it's another J-Boy disaster card here. This could get expensive. Kenny leads out for 120k, Jamie folds, and I make the call. The river is a 10, not a bad bluffing card here for Kenny. So when he bets 375,000 on the river, I make a very quick call, and he shows me the bad news. Nothing I can do about this one after the flop, but I kind of just wish I'd 3-bet pre-flop in hindsight. Still though, plenty of chips to work with. Got about 1.2 million after this hand. Next up, I am once again facing a raise from Jamie. He's on the button with ace king suited. I am in the big blind, but my graphic is wrong here. I've got queen 10 with a 10 of spades. I promise you that's true, and I'm not just lying to cover up a tilted big blind defend with queen 4 offsuit. To the flop we go, all spades. I've got a 10 high flush draw working for me here. Jamie bets small. I think about it for a second and make the call. We see an offsuit king roll off on the turn. I check again, and Jamie bets again for 160k. Even though I've picked up the gut shot, I've still got the 10 high flush draw. I decide to just make the fold. My flush outs might not be live. He could have a hand like ace queen with a queen of spades. If I had the queen of spades instead of the 10, I'd be more likely to make the call, but drawing to the 10 high flush with one card to come, I just go ahead and let it go. I got off to a good start on this final table, but struggling a little bit now, down to just 950k here. Still got around 20 big blinds here, and I'm going to put them to work in the hijack next hand, raising with queen jack offsuit. It folds round to Brandon in the big blind with pocket nines. He decides to just call. We go to the flop, which is jack deuce deuce rainbow. Very good flop here, and I c-bet for a very small size. Really not worried about the deuce, considering we're both quite short. He's not going to defend hands like 3 deuce suited pre-flop. He actually puts in a check raise here to 200k. A very easy call for me, of course. Shoving makes very little sense. Gonna hand it over to the boys in the booth now for the rest of the hand here.
Makes it 200k, and Gary with position, just going to be calling. I think this is Brandon just flushing out equity of overcards here with the nines. Can still get value from worse, but look at this on the turn.
Card for Mr. Brandon Shields, baby.
Must have known Gary is in bother here. Big bother with top pair. Brandon slams off the full house with a 9 on the turn. Small bet here, shove river, what I'd like to see. And does go for third here on the turn. What hands do we expect Brandon to be raising on the flop? Like some deuce X, obviously he's got the deuce X advantage in the big blind, but we're at a final table. Brandon's sitting with a middling stack. He's not going to defend any offsuit deuce X. Ace deuce off maybe. He may not even choose to defend that, but it's only going to be like suited king deuce, queen deuce, ace deuce. So there's actually not really many combos of deuce X out there, although Brandon's in the big blind. And then he can start check raising some king jack, some ace jack, maybe some queen jack of his own. And then I guess the bluffs are going to be hands that are wrapped around the jack, some queen 10, some 10-9, some king queen perhaps, all these type of holdings. So there's the all-in from Brandon, and Gary hates it. It's a really difficult one for Gary. Like on the paired board, the jack deuce deuce, like in my head, Brandon's repping a deuce and then some stronger jack X. Like king jack could definitely be in there. We lose to that. We're losing to that already. Would ace jack go for value on this king river? That's a question we got to ask ourselves. Can we fold and leave ourselves with 8 bigs? The thing is, if we call him with right tower, we're going to have.
He's made the
1.8
call.
million. There you go.
And Brandon has shown him the house. And Gary is shown the door.
A very unfortunate run out for me here. To be honest, I kind of felt like I might be beat, but I decided calling and winning sometimes with Queen Jack was enough of a risk to give me a big stack and also knock out Brandon in the process, instead of calling and being left with around 7 big blinds. Despite unfortunately getting knocked out in 8th place for £6,100, I still had a fantastic time, and Brandon went on to win the whole thing. Big props to him for doing so. Thank you as ever to everyone that's tuned in. If you could give me a sub, that would be fantastic. Until next time, guys and girls, take it easy.